Fireside Chats, talking to the real difference makers in the world. Now, here is your host, John Crump.
And we are live on a wonderful Saturday. It's wonderful because my Washington Capitals beat the Boston Bruins today. So yeah, it's always wonderful. Tonight we are brought to you by Black Swan Tactical, which is part of the Black Swan Media family. It's part of the way that we fund this show. If you look at my shirt right here, Space Force. It is available over at the Black Swan Tactical store, which is located at blackswantactical.com. And I don't have my banners. Okay, there it is. blackswantactical.com. And if you want to see something else, check this out. These are our new stickers. And we also have some PVC patches coming in, but these are our stickers. They are 20 for $5. You can go stick them everywhere. No quarter for tyrants, which is something I totally believe in. We have some really cool shirts over there and everything else. I want to go ahead and throw a big hi to Matt the Cowboy, and John Voorhees is out there already. G Webs is out there, I guess. I don't know. StreamYard's really screwing up with me, but that's whatever. Today we are joined by Tony Simon from Simon Says Train and also diversityshoot.com 2A4E. How are you doing, Tony?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, located in New Jersey, right?
Yep, second is for everyone. I started that in 2015, 2A4E, and been doing this here behind enemy lines since then, trying to get people from every background, every religion, every gender, sexual orientation to actually come and meet firearms owners, real firearms owners, and learn about New Jersey gun laws, and learn about the Second Amendment advocacy groups in this state and in this nation that help fight for their rights every day.
Now, do you think that there is a misconception in certain groups about firearms owners?
I think there's misconceptions in every group about firearms owners, including firearms owner groups. Yeah, I really do.
Drew, what are some of those misconceptions that you have found?
Well, I think most of them think firearms owners, and this is almost every group, is just middle-aged white dudes that have guns because they're afraid of anybody that's not a middle-aged white dude. And that's wrong. That's just a lie being perpetrated by people who want to take advantage of that ignorance. That's one of the big things, and that's what's used against firearms owners when they try to pass legislation, when they're trying to shut down Second Amendment groups, because a lot of the faces of the Second Amendment groups are that middle-aged white guys.
Yeah, I mean that is true that a lot of the people in the Second Amendment field are middle-aged white guys. But if you were at the 2A rally and stuff, you would notice that there's a lot more than just middle-aged white guys. It was kind of funny because during the Second Amendment rally, Shannon Watts, who was like Moms Demand Action, tweeted out that a bunch of angry white middle-aged men were at the Capitol protesting gun laws, and I thought that was kind of ridiculous, considering if you look at the speaker lineup, you wouldn't get that feeling, or if you were actually there, you wouldn't get that feeling. That's all it was. There was another gun control person who tweeted out that it looked like a Klan rally on the Capitol lawn, and I think they try to use that to scare people.
Well, if you want to be funny and try to be funny, yes, okay. So a majority of the people there were white. Guess what? If you had a meeting of almost any profession in this country, most of the participants would be white guys. So if you want to hold on to something stupid, yeah, you can easily hold on to something stupid. And as far as Shannon Watts and her perception, she's a propaganda head. She's going to say what she says. And if you're going to blindly follow someone, which many people do, then you're going to get manipulated. easily because it was easy to Google the 2A rally and find out who was a speaker and who was there and who was on stage. And guess what? It wasn't a Klan rally, or it was the most progressive Klan rally I've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't think the gay Asian guy would have been invited to a Klan rally.
Yeah, it's like, hey, we having some speakers at the Klan rally. We'd like Chris Chen and Maj Toure and Kevin Dixie, Argo J. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is ridiculous. How'd you get into firearms?
Girl, I was born and raised in Virginia, so I've had firearms. I'm from Halifax County, out in southwestern Virginia, farm country. Yeah, that's where I'm from.
I broadcast out of Virginia.
Yeah, I know. But yeah,
I am the director, the VA director for GOA out here.
Cool. Yeah.
Live near Devon. You know Devon.
Yeah, I know Devon. We met at Kevin Dixie's shoot and learn event, and pretty much took us forever to get together and be on the show, but we're going to rectify that. Yeah, born and raised in Virginia, been in the gun since I was a kid. But I mean, out there, it's just part of the culture. But I was into guns, not just owning guns, but that kid that was into guns. I started reading old Soldier of Fortune magazines when I was like 7 or 8. Shooting guns when I was 4, maybe even younger. I don't know. It was just always a thing. Was in junior ROTC in high school, competed on the high school's 10-meter team, 10-meter air gun team, joined the Marine Corps, did my time there, got out of the Corps, moved up to Jersey. But, I was into surplus guns big time. And that was some of the first guns I owned. 1911, with Auto Ordnance 1911, Mosin Nagant, and Enfield. 1917 Enfield were like my first guns. Moved to Jersey in 93, and because of New Jersey's gun laws, I couldn't go to the range up here because I didn't have a firearms ID card. And the only way to get a firearms ID card is to fill out paperwork and have 2 non-relatives as references. Well, I just moved here. I knew no one. So that was out. And pretty much they do everything to discourage firearms ownership in New Jersey. So I didn't do anything with firearms until I went shooting with my friend Sean Fisher, who ends up being my partner in Second is for Everyone. But, that was a friendship that was a long time in development. But around 2012, I became a firearms instructor through Gun for Hire Range in Woodland Park. And Sean and I started teaching classes, and then Sandy Hook happened, and that's when I got into advocacy.
Yeah, Gun for Hire. That's a good place out there. Interviewed Anthony out there for Amaland. And you also bring up Soldier of Fortune magazine. Colonel Brown is a good friend of mine. The guy who basically founded Soldier of Fortune. I have some stories, man. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, he should. And because of him, I was able to, because those old Soldier of Fortune magazines were at like Goodwill for like pennies. I was able to buy like back issues of it as a kid with my allowance, and I just read them till they fell apart. And that's what got me deeper into firearms.
Yeah.
Then it was books, like Louis L'Amour cowboy books. It was Mac Bolan and those kind of books.
Wow. Yeah. I grew up in Virginia, but didn't grow up in like a gun culture. I grew up in Northern Virginia, I should say.
Northern Virginia, a whole nother state.
Yeah, it really is. I wish for everyone else's sake they would break Virginia into 2 different pieces or 3 different pieces.
Yeah, Tidewater, Northern Virginia, and the good part of Virginia.
Yeah, yeah. Ohio doesn't have a GOA branch, John. I will tell you who to email to get that set up. But yeah, they're just covered on national. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. New Jersey, they're a whole nother ball of wax with all the different types of um, gun laws up there. That's what Amaland's headquarters is, and I don't know how you guys live up there with all those gun laws.
Well, it's funny because again, coming from a what used to be a free state, um, coming from where I am, moving to New Jersey, it's pretty much like Stockholm syndrome. These people don't know about freedom for real. I mean, they've been operating under these rules for so long that they're just used to them. And I'm talking about for most part as the population. I mean, of course, there's a lot of pro-gun people that realize that these are bullcrap laws, but most people are like, oh, this is just what you have to do. And I'm like, no, that's not what you have to do. You don't have to do that. You should be able to walk into a gun store and buy a firearm right then and right there like you can any other product. I mean, and
Yeah.
truthfully, background checks and everything else is an infringement, but we've pretty much as a nation just go, okay, we're going to have a NICS check to get a firearm. And I'm like, that's something else they've been playing you with since what, 68?
Yeah, Nix went into effect
No.
but after that.
Yeah, I was going to say Brady, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Brady bill when that
Yep.
passed. But it's kind of like really, really ridiculous. Some of the gun laws and how people think that they're going to work, like the New Jersey magazine ban. I FOIA'd that. I haven't FOIA'd that in like 6 months, but as of 6 months ago, they've had 0 people turn in any magazines there.
Well, one of the people say that all the time, but they didn't have to turn in a magazine. They just had to get rid of them.
They had to get rid of them.
And the thing is, after December 10th, because December 10th of last year, obviously, even having them in your possession is illegal. So you dropping them off at the police station could get you arrested.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, and NRA did help Nix. There is a guy who is former vet. He's a vet, and he was just arrested for having a magazine up there. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah. Dang. I wish I would have actually written his name down. Yes, he was a Marine Corps veteran. He was getting divorced, and this was during pretty much divorce proceedings. His wife got a restraining order against him, and the police went and searched his home. He said, yeah, I have a shotgun upstairs in the attic, old shotgun. I don't even use it. They went up, they got a shotgun. They went through his belongings, searching his home, and found a footlocker with all his old Marine Corps gear in it. Now, this guy was wounded by an IED and went to the hospital. Whole thing, he got medical, he got a medical out. And he had gear packed in his footlocker that he hadn't seen since he got out of the Marine Corps. I think it was 2009. They opened it, went through it, and they found 2 M16 30-round mags in his gear and arrested him for it. And he's facing 18 months, 18 months in jail per magazine. So he, on the 15th, I think, or the 17th, he goes to trial.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of really sucks to make a stupid mistake like that. I got like hundreds of magazines. So if they pass the same law here, yeah, I could probably get rid of most of them, but there's always a chance that I'm going to miss one because I don't know the exact amount of magazines that I have.
Well, the thing is, he doesn't own an AR-15. He doesn't own any 223 ammo. It was just magazines in his gear. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's very sad. It's very, very sad. I mean, until people like stick up for each other and stop actually complying with these dumbass laws, I don't see how we get out of it.
Well, that's the funny thing, because people go, "Oh well, just don't comply." I'm like, "Okay, cool. You're gonna help me get out of jail? You're gonna pay for my lawyer? You're gonna pay my bills as I'm locked up?" Because they're not playing. and you get no sympathy. There's just the media, mass media won't promote you. Excuse me, won't present the story as hard, because this guy, he owns a construction company. He has 12 full-time employees that depend on him, having the company open to have jobs and support their families. Nice enough dude, got remarried, has custody of, I guess, some kind of custody of his children. This was just doing a friggin' just normal divorce proceedings that this happened. He did nothing. He made no threats. He hurt no one. And they play you off as a bad guy. So the time to actually get active is when it's time to vote. Not even when these bills. I mean, when these bills come up, sure. I mean, get there. Right, rally, go testify. But really, the time to do something is when it's time to vote in primaries. When it's time to actually vote in elections. The entire New Jersey Assembly was up for re-election this time, and not many people voted, and hardly anyone came out for the primaries. So that's what happens.
It's like in Virginia, we got our asses handed to us, the pro-gun side, and it was because like the turnout for Republicans was 75% less than, or only 75% of what they expected it to be, because a lot of people just stayed home because it's not a big year, and people don't realize that it's the local elections that really matter to you more so than the national elections, because that's going to affect you more.
The election that got Governor Bucktooth Jackass Murphy elected only had 20% of the registered voters come out and vote. That's in the gubernatorial race. So if 80% of the voters stayed home, you allowed 20% of the voters to dictate who actually became governor. And he got a little more than half the votes. So pretty much you had like 13% of the people that are registered voters in the state choosing who runs your state and who passes all these laws and who put an attorney general into effect, who's now our attorney general in New Jersey's running around just threatening to sue every gun company out there, sending them all letters to cease and desist and don't ship stuff to New Jersey. And of course, gun companies just don't want the problem. So now you're seeing across the board things like PSA, or Palmetto State Armory, talk about they won't ship complete lowers to Jersey. There's nothing illegal about it. They just won't do it.
Well, it's like 80% lowers are not illegal in New York yet, but they are threatening to sue companies that sell 80% lowers.
Well, see, 80% lowers are illegal to manufacture here in Jersey. You can't do that.
Yeah,
but
what I'm saying, in New York, they're not illegal to buy, but
nope.
Yet they're suing these companies, saying that they have deceitful advertising because they're not letting people know that they could make a legal weapon out of it.
Yeah,
even though
it's ridiculous.
You must follow all local laws.
Yeah.
People want to know where you can buy that shirt at. Diversityshoot.com.
Yep, diversityshoot.com. This shirt is $10. I don't get paid on this shirt at all. My t-shirt guy makes them and sends them out at pretty much cost. Now there's a couple of 2A4E shirts there, and yes, they're promotional shirts, and I get a little bit of something from those. But these, I wanted to make so people can wear them to rallies, so them and their friends can pick some up, and everybody can be dressed alike. And maybe you'll get into a photo, and the shirt says enough, gun control equals racism, to start a conversation with someone, or at least get them to Google it and look it up and see the long history of racism and gun control in this country.
Yeah, I have a banner right now. I'm not sure if you can see it or not with the website up.
There you go.
Yeah. Now, do you get a lot of comments on the gun control is racist thing? I know.
I wait for it. Go ahead.
I know Maj Toure. He has a shirt that says "All gun control is racist," and I know he gets a lot of comments on it. So I'm wondering if you do.
Well, it's funny because Maj and I started up our different entities at the same time, and we came up with the gun control equals racism, or all gun control is racist, at the exact same time. That's with awesome. No reference to each other, which is hilarious. But no, I have. What was that?
So it shows you that it's true.
Yeah, right. I mean, because again, Maj and I are friends. We have each other's number and everything. But I came out with the shirt with my guy. He he put it out, and almost the exact same week. I mean, it's not like Maj copied me or I copied Maj. It was like ping ping. It was that quick. Do I have conversations? Yes. Do they like confront me? No. It was really funny because this year at the Great American Outdoor Show, the hotel I was staying in had the Pennsylvania Teachers Conference being held there at the same time.
Oh,
So
interesting.
yeah, so it's like 5 days. I went 5 out of the 9 days, and I wore my shirt every day. So I'm walking through the hotel, and it was Super Bowl Sunday. Remember, we had it during Super Bowl Sunday. So we go down to the restaurant, and there was a lot of us from the show. And I walk in, and it's full of teachers. The restaurant bar thing is full of teachers, and it just got completely quiet when I walked in the door. They all looked at the shirt. I made eye contact, smiled, said hello, 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 and just walked right through the crowd. Not one word, not one question. I'm like, yeah, please ask me because I'm ready for this conversation. You're gonna get educated today.
Um,
Nothing.
yeah. Matt Death Cowboy, who is the producer of my show, he totally agrees with you 100%, and he wants you to give some points on how gun control is racist for the people out there.
All right, cool. Gun control is based on racism in this country because the first gun control laws in this country were to make it illegal for people of color to own firearms. 1619, the first slaves arrived in America. They arrived in the colony of Virginia. That's 1619. 1620, the first laws that said blacks can own guns were actually drawn up by the Virginia House of Burgesses, the oldest and longest living democracy or something like that, democratic ruling body in the country. Oh, and yeah, that's it, right? In the country.
In the
Um,
hemisphere.
okay, in the hemisphere. That and they still exist today as the Virginia Assembly, and they just celebrated 400 years this year. But that was the first gun control laws, and you can continue going through U.S. history. That most gun control laws were just to subjugate people, making it illegal for Asians, making it illegal for Native Americans to own firearms, and that continued. Dred Scott case is also an example of a man who should have been a freed slave because he bought his own freedom and they wouldn't allow him to be a freed slave, so he sued and it went all the way to Supreme Court. And the head of the Supreme Court, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, pretty much said if we recognize them as humans, they have the rights under the Second Amendment to own firearms, and we can't allow that to happen. So they wouldn't even see blacks as people because that would give us our Second Amendment rights.
Yeah,
That's how ridiculous it was.
and John Voorhees is bringing up that during the after the Civil War, the southern states passed laws preventing freed slaves from owning firearms.
Oh, I was getting there, but this
Oh,
is all pre-Civil War. This is all pre-Civil War.
all right, well, keep on
Now,
going. Let me stop you.
yeah. So that was 1850. That was around 1850. Dred Scott case happened, and then of course Civil War happened. So all blacks are freed, Emancipation Proclamation, and so and so. And then still, it was like laws were passed, like you said, Black Code, Jim Crow laws. They were also passed to stop blacks from owning firearms. But the funny thing is, everybody goes, well, the Democrats this, the Democrats that. Well, the Republicans took over after the Civil War and they took over the South, Reconstruction, and they allowed these laws to stand even while they were there to keep blacks unarmed. And then they left. And it was another 100 years before we got equal rights. So 1968 was, the supposedly end of the civil rights legislation. But in that 100 years, they used everything possibly could to keep blacks disarmed. And a lot of people like to point out the Mulford Act in California in the 60s that Ronald Reagan allowed to pass and signed in as governor, and that Mulford was actually a Republican that came up with that bill. Because they were afraid of the Black Panthers, because the Black Panthers armed themselves to help stop abuse by the police in California of people of color. So
Yeah,
yeah, it continually happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very interesting history. Wasn't the NRA partially founded on
No,
the no?
no. The NRA was not founded to help black people be free. NRA was founded because the Union soldiers sucked at marksmanship, and they were getting their butts handed to them by Johnny Reb because there wasn't a gun culture in the northern cities and states. So they were founded in New York, and they were helped to improve marksmanship. Now the NRA really didn't get political, as in fighting for your individual rights until after 1970, but they didn't care what color you were if you wanted to start an NRA chapter. And that also allowed you to buy guns from the civilian marksmanship program. So, yes, there was a gentleman named Williams. I forget his first name. He was a United States Marine. He got out of the Marine Corps. He's a black man in the 50s that pretty much started civil rights movement. He was part of the NAACP and in South Carolina. And he started his civil rights struggle down there. And one of the things that happened was they were trying to get black people equal access to the community pool because black kids had to swim in the creek. They couldn't swim in the community pool. So they tried through peaceful demonstration to get black people to at least go be allowed in the community pool 2 to 3 days a week. Every excuse was made up why black people couldn't swim in the same water as white people, including they would have to drain the pool every time black people got out of it for white people to be able to swim in the clean
What?
water. Yeah.
I think
So
your blackness was gonna like
it was the stupidity of it. So then they said, well, oh, it was dumb. And they were like, well, can't we build another pool? Oh, we can't afford to build another pool for the blacks. And it was always thing after thing. Well, that summer, 3 black kids had drowned while swimming in the creek. And they started protesting the community center. And while they were protesting the community center, whites went into the woods across from the pool where the blacks were protesting. They started shooting guns over their heads. So, of course, the blacks called the police. Police chief shows up, says, what's the problem? As bullets are going over his head, he goes, I don't hear any gunshots. He just wasn't going to do anything. And that's when this guy went, you know what? We're going to have to arm up. If police are standing there while we're being shot at and don't care, we're going to have to arm ourselves. And he made a speech kind of accordingly that we're not going to allow ourselves to be targeted as individuals. And the NRA, I mean, not NRA, the NAACP asked him to retract it, and he refused. So they kicked him out of the NAACP. They dissolved the chapter because he was the vice president. They dissolved the chapter because he wouldn't agree. He contacted the NRA. NRA made him a chapter president, and he was able to buy stuff through CMP, Civilian Marksmanship Program, and he was able to pick firearms up for him and his crew, and they were able to guard black neighborhoods and arm themselves with surplus firearms.
Wow, so, I didn't know all that. How about this? Do you know anything about Black Wall Street?
Oh, the 1921 bombing of Tulsa, Oklahoma? Yeah.
Yeah, can you talk about that a little bit? I think that's very interesting.
Black Wall Street was a black neighborhood part of the Tulsa, Oklahoma area. Successful business people because, it was black-owned businesses because you couldn't do business with white people. And they were successful. They kept their money inside their neighborhood, and these were well-off, well-educated people. Well, there was an accusation that a black elevator operator raped a white woman, on the elevator during the middle of the day. And what happened is, I guess he was helping with packages. He fell on the woman, fell into her. She said she was raped, and charges went accordingly. And it got really, really hostile. And then they were talking about lynching a guy. They were just going to skip the entire legal process and lynch him. Black people were able to have small arms, some handguns, stuff like that. And it just got more and more violent as time went on, and it pretty much turned into an all-out attack upon the black neighborhood. State police actually got involved and dropped kerosene bombs on the black neighborhood. People that tried to escape They wouldn't let them across the bridge to escape. They wouldn't let them out, and the official numbers is over 200 blacks died trying to escape it, and the numbers that people from that area say is over 500 people died trying to escape from that area. If you type in Red Summer, you find out that Black Wall Street, the massacre happened in 1921, but in 1919 there were race riots throughout America where blacks were murdered by crowds of whites with police help, with the government turning a blind eye. Also, Rosewood, Florida, you type that in and Google that. That was another town that was actually surrounded and burned down, and people were murdered because of the color of their skin by violent white mobs, again, with the knowledge of local government and police. So that's went on pretty much through the early 1919s, 1920, 1921, 1922.
Yeah, but why would you guys need guns?
Uh-huh. And for the people that always say when we point out what happened in Venezuela, when we point out what happens in other countries that are first and second world countries, they go, well, it couldn't happen here. I'm like, well, it has happened here.
It's happened not only to the black community, but it's also happened to the white community. If you read the Battle of Athens that happened right after World War II in Athens, Georgia, they used
Or go further back. Go to the attack on the Bonus Army by the much beloved General Douglas MacArthur, who attacked World War I veterans in D.C. It has happened to, yes, it happened to white people. It's happened to, of course, Native Americans. It's happened to Asians. It's happened. I mean, come on, man. I mean, they locked up Japanese Americans because people love to play it off like these were just Japanese. These weren't just Japanese. These were Japanese Americans. Second, and most of them were second and third generation Americans that got locked up during a Japanese internment. When they knock on your door and tell you you have 1 hour to pack 2 bags and get out of your house and it no longer belongs to you. So yes, it's happened here and it's happened in modern times. So let's stop acting as if it didn't. And then to just deny the violent history of America. Now, again, I love this country and I love what it stands for and what it has become because we've advanced further than pretty much no country goes 200 years ago, ours property, and now we've already had a black president. You know what I mean? It's like, no, that's really fast. I mean, there are dynasties in other countries that were in power longer than we've been an awesome nation. So we kick ass, and I love America. So let's not get this twisted. But we've had a past that we have to be aware of, and we have to understand that the founders of this country knew that to be free, the people have to be armed against a government that overreaches. They were completely aware of that. They were completely aware of how government acts if left unchecked, and they gave us ways to check it. And there's a concerted effort to get rid of that, ability, and we have to guard against it.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. Matt Death Cowboy is trying to spread the gospel of the Second Amendment and in a neighborhood. Basically, his story is they're trying to pass some regulations and ordinances in Norfolk and the black area in Norfolk, like anti-gun regulation. So he's out there trying to prevent that and trying to speak to them. Do you have any suggestions for him to connect with the community there?
Well, I mean, as a white guy trying to connect with the black community, it might not work out that well for you just based on the optic alone if you don't already have connections or know people. I mean, you just can't show up, it's only movie fantasies when the great white hope shows up in the black neighborhood to lead them to the promised land. That's not how it works.
I call it the avatar fantasy.
Yeah. Well, it's happened in movies all the time. What was that movie with Michelle Pfeiffer in it back in the day where she becomes a school teacher and just helps all the ghetto kids out?
That must
I'm like,
That must really piss you off because it pisses me off. I'm not
Oh
even.
well, I mean, it goes all the way back to the Tarzan thing. Blacks can't get along, figure out anything. All of a sudden, this white dude shows up. He can talk to the animals and everything, and just do great things in Africa. But no, what you do is you have to get allies. That's all. You have to have allies fight for you. You have to have allies speak for you. So contact Maj Toure, contact Kevin Dixie, and see if they can host events in that area. Talk to your Second Amendment groups, because I know Baraka James was active in the Virginia Self Defense League. Is that what it's called?
VCDL,
Uh,
yeah, Baraka. I've known Baraka for. Baraka lives near me. I've known him for a while.
yeah. So you talk to Baraka James. You also talk to National African American Gun Club. Just find out who has somewhere in the area, make them aware of the legislation that's going down, and try to get them involved. And never stop, trying to educate people. But understand the optic is against you because they've been playing us as erased against each other so long that even when you try to help, it's not looked at as you're trying to help. It's unsolicited. It's like unsolicited advice. No one wants to take it if it doesn't agree with what they already believe in.
Uh, I think he wants to save his rights, and he is from Roanoke as well.
Yeah, so you get allies. You get allies to help you in the fight. You're not going to do it all yourself. So you reach out to different people. You try to find groups. You go onto gun forum pages in the area and you try to find people color to help you out. Maybe even organize events, bring them in as speakers, or just bring them in and let them spread the word in their own neighborhoods. Let them make Facebook posts, make them have social media posts, but also make them aware because a lot of gun owners aren't aware of things going down. And also go to your local gun shops and put up flyers if you're going to have a move. You know what I mean? If you're going to do something organized, put flyers up in a local gun shop with phone numbers and try to get them involved because a lot of guys go and pick up ammo, especially now hunting season starting up again, and just put word out there.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that's really good advice for the people out there. Not only him, but like other people as well. And that's one of the reasons why I'm like the sponsor of Devin's podcast. That's one of the reasons why I gave him a podcast.
Yeah, get word out. Use whatever you can to develop a team because it's about a team. That's how things get done in this country. You can't do it all as an individual, especially with Second Amendment. This has to be grassroots and it has to be on everyone. We have no big money grassroots push. I mean, and truthfully, I don't want one because then you end up with the big money maybe making a deal and compromising your rights away. So you want this to be grassroots.
Yeah. What do you think of people like Cory Booker, who, when the California shooting was happening, because he's from New Jersey,
Mm-hmm.
while the California shooting was happening, or when they were responding to it, he started tweeting out saying that the NRA is responsible for this before anything was known, and how we need to tackle gun legislation right now and stuff like that before they even had a body count or like they knew anything
Okay.
about it.
Understand this, and Cory Booker is just the latest person to do this because it happens pretty much during every mass shooting, because it's dependent. The anti-gun movement is dependent upon emotional outbursts. It's dependent upon people pushing bills through immediately in the aftermath of dead children. Cory Booker is a desperate bitch.
I would agree with that.
Cory Booker's about to become irrelevant on the presidential scale. He's not. His campaign is failing. He was begging for money less than a month ago to keep it going. I want to find out who's doing worse at this point in the run, him or Governor Fat Boy that used to be our Governor Chris Christie when he was running. I'd really like the time frame of like who was doing worse.
I think Booker.
Yeah, so he sucks and he's about to become irrelevant, so he's doing what he can to actually stay relevant.
2%.
Yeah, so he's just a loser and he's grasping at straws and he's trying to be a hero. Now, I liked Cory Booker when he first ran because Cory Booker I felt was really genuine when he first ran for mayor of Newark. He was getting good things done. He was saying things during his first year that really made sense. Good luck finding this because I found the YouTube video once. He said, during my first year as mayor of Newark, I did a study and there was only one murder in Newark by a licensed firearms owner. The problem is not licensed firearms owners, it's illegal guns and other problems. He said that during one of the local cable access interviews he did in Newark as mayor. The
Yeah.
very next day, he retracted that statement. And that's when the great Cory Booker sellout happened. That's when the great Cory Booker sellout just started happening. And he started contradicting the things that he said that made sense. And it was just as far as I'm concerned, a downward spiral by a politician. Like you just watch the guy get bought off.
It seems like that happens a lot. They need that Bloomberg money.
Dude, it's amazing because he's also one of those guys that Mark Zuckerberg came through at $1 million and donated to the Newark schools to help students. And the $1 billion disappeared. And no one asked where it went. Like not one new laptop was purchased with $1 billion gone.
It's amazing how stuff like that can happen. And no one calls anybody out. I mean, on both sides. I mean,
Oh yeah.
we need to return to an era like what Washington wanted with the citizen politician. You go, you do a couple years, and then you just go back to the private life.
Well, what it is we've changed up, man. We have other things to distract us that are more important. Remember when Washington was around? I mean, there wasn't a lot. There was religion and politics. You know what I mean? There wasn't national sports leagues. There wasn't TV. There wasn't outrageous taxes that pretty much caused you to have a two parent working household. You know what I mean? So just things have gotten in the way, and then we've also, as a society, have gone. Oh, we don't talk about religion and politics in public. Well, no, that's where you actually have discourse and have conversations.
Wait. I got to stop you right there. So
Yep.
you're saying, I can't believe this. You're saying that high taxes is not good for the people.
Wow, really?
That discourse is a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Nothing's wrong. We've forgotten actually how to have conversation with someone we don't agree with, but can have a conversation. Because understand, when you talk to people that don't agree with you, you have to be able to stand behind your own ideas and be able to express your own ideas. And sometimes maybe when you're talking it out and you go, well, wait a minute, maybe I don't believe in as deeply as I thought I did in this one thing. And it's called a conversation. And that's why, as Second Amendment advocates, we must have conversations with people on an individual basis that we've developed relationships with. You're not going to have a cold start conversation with someone and sway them. But if it's a person you've worked with for the last 20 years and you're having a conversation, they know your kids, they know your family, they've met you in a social situation, but you don't happen to agree on this firearms thing. When you have a conversation, and they go, well, wait a minute, I never thought about that. I never thought about it that way. That's when seeds are planted. You're not going to make someone switch, but you can make someone think. And when you point out how gun owners are played off as these heartless people that care more about their guns and their kids, and you go, that's what the news media is saying, but we're both here at this PTA meeting. You think I don't care about my children? And just also, you don't answer every question. You don't have an answer for everything because a lot of us do. I know I do. I mean, you can pull FBI statistics, you can pull all kinds of things that show the gun control side is always lying. But you allow them to answer their own questions when they ask them. And all of a sudden, they'll come to their own conclusion without you guiding them.
Yeah.
And they'll go, this is bullcrap.
Yeah, here's another thing. I was watching Kamala Harris rally the other day because I'm a political junkie, so I watch all that stuff.
Mhm.
And the same rally, in the same speech, she talks about about police abusing black people and shooting black people.
Mm-hmm.
and abuses of power and stuff like that. Then she said, "I believe only only law enforcement and the military should have these weapons." Talking about like AR-15s, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking to myself, let's back up 15 minutes. It kind of blew my mind. I'm like, wait, what?
Well, see, the thing that these politicians know is all people listen to is the blurb that's pulled out for them and thrown up. No one's listened to an entire Kamala Harris speech. She knows that. So she can contradict herself in her own speech. Yeah, it's hilarious, man. People get information spoon fed to them, and many just read headlines. Now, when you throw in your echo chamber of social media, and all you see is a headline and a 2 minute read, that's as deep as it goes, dude. That is like, here's propaganda in little chocolate covered bite sized pieces for you. Here, dummy. Here. We're just gonna take your freedom away. Oh, excuse me. We're gonna allow you to give your freedom away. But here's a little bite-sized piece of stupid.
Yeah, what I always find funny is when they talk about compromise. 'Cause I was talking to an anti-gun person, a mom demand action person, and she was like, "Well, we need a compromise." I was like, "Okay, well, so can I have like suppressors without having a tax stand?" No. Well, can I have a machine gun? No. Like, what are you offering? She's like, well, I'm offering to let you keep. I'm like, no, that's not compromising.
Yeah, you're asking me. All right, I'm going to cut off your hand. We can debate on which finger we start with, but our ultimate goal is to cut your hand off. And I'm like, yeah, it's not a compromise. Compromise goes back to, all right, I say get rid of the NFA. I say we start in 1934 and we can work our way back. And no mom's man ever debate me. No mom's man ever talk to me because I'm going to look at you and go, hey, look, middle-aged white Democrat who's going to dictate what rights I should have. You've already played this game. You were seen as traitors. You broke away from America so you could own people that looked like me. You fought a war so you could own people that look like me, Democrat. You lost the war and you still passed laws so people that look like me couldn't be equal citizens. Then you built statues to your rebel gods in the middle of your cities that now you're trying to tear down and pretend they didn't exist. So no, and they didn't do it right after the Civil War. Many of the Civil War statues were built in the 1920s throughout the South and throughout this country.
Yeah.
All right, so that didn't happen that long ago. So now to somehow, again, I was born in 1970. Civil rights legislation supposedly ended in 68. So pretty much in my lifetime, I went from not having, excuse me, right before I was born, I am the first generation of American black citizen to be born with all of my rights instead of having them legislated. I'm that first generation. I'm not giving those up to make your white ass feel better and think somehow school shootings won't happen if all AR-15s disappear because you can't be trusted. You haven't earned that trust yet. Sorry, give me another 400 years without you subjugating someone, and I might start believing you.
What's your thought? Cowboy wants to know what's your thoughts on the new Democrats?
What new Democrats? They have the same party platform as the old Democrats. They're trying to disarm me.
Yeah. I think they put new in quotation marks.
Yeah, I know. It's just funny because, no, we're different. Really? Because you have the same party platform. You're still trying to disarm people of color. I mean, they're trying to disarm everyone, but I just want to point out the history of it and how they do it. And of course, they did it for our own good, right? And now they're using the same thing. Oh, it's to stop school shootings. Yeah, but like 1%, what was the percentage? Like 2 to 3% of people killed with long arms in this country anyway. So it's not. Yeah, okay. It's not an epidemic.
It's less than 1%. It's like a
Yeah.
half.
Okay. Yeah. It's not that. That's not an epidemic, and even that doesn't meet the definition of an epidemic. So you're lying.
Last year there was less than 400. That includes accidental shootings, all rifles, including hunting rifles, hunting accidents, suicides, everything.
hmm Everything. So you're lying. So again, you're trying to take away rights of the people based on a lie, and you're being played. And they're doing it emotionally, and that's why Cory Booker comes out and says what he does. See, it makes no difference if what he says is ridiculous to us. It gets a headline, and it gets used against us. Like when Bloomberg was naming off all the victims of gun violence, and he named the one of the Boston bombers that got killed and is part of the victim of gun violence. They
Well,
don't care.
talking about like Bloomberg, every town when they have a website where it lists all like the school shootings and stuff like that.
hmm
And I thought the number was like awful high. So I started going ahead and fact checking all their statistics. Um, and the first thing they did was it wasn't just schools. It was
hmm
a 500-yard radius around schools.
Yep.
And that includes like accidental discharges from cleaning guns and stuff like that. So I was like, wow, that's kind of ridiculous. Then I started digging into more. And then there was somebody shot someone with a paintball gun, was shooting people with a paintball gun to be funny, you know. They,
hmm
they
School
went
shooting.
and said school shooting. And then my favorite one was there was somebody called the police because they saw kids running around with guns. So I pulled the police report, and the police report had the kids all under the age of 10, and they were playing with airsoft guns. They were playing a game of airsoft near a school and a park. And they put that down as a school shooting. So
I like going to every town's website when I pull up information because I get it from their websites. Also, the Giffords, I go to their website and I pull the numbers off of that when I do quotes on my Twitter page or my Instagram, and I use their own information against them because they write it down in a certain way, but if you read it, you can see through the lie. It's like reading old school. It's like reading old school gun reviews. It's like, all right, that gun sucked, but you had to look at how they worded it to tell you that gun sucked. And when you read their information, you just have to like go through and go, that doesn't make sense the way they have it written. Hold on a second. What does that really say? Because when you start quoting them, it just messes up their entire game. Or when you just go with the FBI crime statistics, because I love when they say, well, the FBI, obviously, it's Donald Trump's FBI. I'm like, really? Because, really?
yeah.
I'm like, nah, these statistics go back well before Donald Trump. And it doesn't prove out what you say about mass shooting, gun violence, or anything else. And even the term gun violence means they're winning on that aspect because now we're using their terms to describe stuff.
Yeah, I did a so-called assault weapons uh, ban. I always put assault weapons in quotation marks, but like an assault weapons ban statistics saying that it didn't work. Like this is a DOJ fact, and basically they said, "Oh, that's the Donald Trump thing." I'm like, no, this is the one. This is the DOJ under Bill Clinton.
Obama. Oh yeah, because they have yeah, but the DOJ under Obama when he asked them to do that study and
Yeah,
it came out, yeah, nah, that's not how that worked.
yeah, it
So
happened under Obama and Bill Clinton, but they both had it. But
hmm it's like, oh, what? Um, oh, what do I? Somebody asked, what do I think of Bloomberg running? Listen, it makes no difference. Bloomberg could run. He's not gonna win.
you know.
He's just not gonna win. I have no idea why he did that. But yeah, he's not winning. So he can run. He'll just be somebody else that kicks Cory Booker's ass. I might run as a Democratic president candidate just so I could beat Cory Booker.
Just to get out.
Yeah. Hey, Cory Booker kicked your ass.
I remember when Thomas Sowell was running, and I would always point out that I had the same percentage in the Democratic primary as he did. He was
Nice.
0%.
It's hilarious, dude. These
Yeah.
guys, it's an ego thing. It's an ego thing. I guess maybe it gets their price up in Washington to buy them off. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden their Q rating goes up in the buy my vote auction. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy. Let me ask you a question. Do you think the Black community should become free agents in politics? Where
I think, I think every community should become free agents in politics, and then and that's the problem. We sold our vote out long ago, and it's been taken for granted. Um, that simple. Our vote as a people has been taken for granted that we're owned by the Democratic Party owns us. One, there was legislation and a war fought to make that not true. So I have no idea why we're allowing that perception to continue.
oh, because everybody magically switched sides.
Oh, that's the best, isn't it? They switched sides. Really? When? Was it immediately after the Civil War when the people that fought the war went, hey, we're going to become this? Or was it the children of those people that went, oh, yeah, I know my dad, lost a limb and like all of my uncles are dead, but I'm going to become a Democrat now? Like when did that happen?
And did they have a big meeting where they decided, hey, let's switch names?
Yeah.
That should be really fun.
Oh my God. Stop. Stop.
Oh, well, I mean, Eric Sawwell, whatever his name is.
All right, because I was running. I was like, wait a minute. I like the other guy.
Yeah, Paul Sawwell. He's good. I read a lot of his books.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Eric Swalwell or whatever that idiot's name is.
Sawwell.
Yeah. I love he dropped out of the race and anybody was like, you were in it? That's like me dropping out of the New York Marathon. Hey, listen, I decided to drop out. I'm like, you weren't passing anybody. There's a crippled kid that outran you. No, that's not happening.
Oh man, I love politics. Sometimes, but I love it.
But I'm on the flip side. I hate politics. I don't want to be involved. I just want to shoot my damn guns. That's all I want to do. I want to go to the range. I want to shoot guns. I don't want to have to pass a stupid background check. I don't want to have to ask permission from the government. Can I have this thing because the barrel is 14 inches long, please? Please, can I fill out special paperwork for that? No.
No, I'm not talking about that part of politics. I'm talking about the political circus.
Oh no, I know what you mean. No, but I hate it all. I don't want to be involved in any of it, but that's the only way we're going to get these rights back. That's the only way we can fight this is through, again, like you said, the political circus. We have to be a part of this. You can't, and most gun owners, I think, as we see, just don't like it. They don't show up at rallies. They don't write. They don't make those phone calls because it's just so nauseating and stomach turning and disgusting to be a part of it. Because everybody plays let's make a deal with your rights. They're all boring. There's no seemingly difference between them. Like to get involved, you have to pay a lot of attention. You know what I mean? Like to even know the difference. Like the NRA would have their ABCD rating, and they would pretty much have some guys who aren't really strong on the Second Amendment as like B and A rated. And I'm like, no, that guy's a scumbag and down with compromise. So yeah, as gun owners, some of us don't want to be involved, but you have to be.
Yeah,
you have to be involved.
That's why if you want to join the GOA, you can go to gunowners.org/black-swan-media and get $10 off.
There you go.
My little plug.
Nothing's wrong with that. Be a part of it. Now, what I do with the diversity shoot is I bring in Second Amendment groups. I bring in the NRA, ILA, because they've been helping me from the beginning. Mm-hmm. The Second Amendment groups in the state, like CNJFO, which is a coalition of New Jersey firearms owners, they come and they talk about what they're doing to try to get carry permits passed in Jersey. They also support cases that go up, and they provide finances to help Jersey gun cases. Right now, we have the Cheeseman-Gillard cases going up in front of the Supreme Court. We have cases from Jersey that are actually at the Supreme Court level. ANJRPC, that's our New Jersey Second Amendment NRA chapter. They come out and speak at the events. We have NJ2AS, which Alexander Rubian, he runs that, and he's fighting on the state level. I introduce people to these Second Amendment advocacy groups in the state. I endorse them all if you want to be part of it. If you want to get into the fight, get into the fight. If you don't like one group, join another. Mine is not a group. I just have a workshop to bring people together under an umbrella to meet, to mingle. I want you to meet gun owners just like yourself. I want you to meet people that have never picked up a gun so you can actually talk to them and have a conversation. We have food, we have prizes, we have jokes, and we have fun. And we have an inclusive environment that you can come to ask questions. As a gun owner, when you come to a diversity shoot, that's awesome. But you can bring that dude from work, you know what I mean, who's always asking you questions. Like, hey, I don't know. Can we do this? Can we do that? Why don't you come to the diversity shoot with me? I will have 6 or 7 guys in ports, and you can shoot a bunch of guns. You can go shoot your guns, and your buddy can go in another port. You don't have to worry about him. You don't have to watch over him. He gets to shoot a bunch of guns. You guys can come back in the classroom and chill and eat pizza with us. And your buddy, who now has met these people who are, Second Amendment advocates, he shot their guns, and now he can chill with them and actually have a conversation. Like,
Yeah.
is an AR-15 an assault weapon? I'm like, well, you just shot 3 of them. I mean, or did you find they were super powerful and weighed as much as 10 boxes that you carry and shoot a 50 cal round? I mean, but what it does, if you're brave enough to come, and that's why I say you can bring your friends that are anti-gun, on the fence, whatever, you can have that conversation with people that you just hung out with for 2-3 hours.
Well, look at
That's
Dan.
why I do what I do.
Dan Gross was the last president of Brady.
Mm-hmm.
He was the president for 20 years. He decided he got invited to a shoot by Rob Pincus, and he decided to go and see what it was like, and basically opened his eyes. And now he's not only a former president of Brady, but he's also a 2A supporter.
It takes a conversation. And again, people have to be able to open their own eyes. You can't force their eyes open, but you can have a conversation. You can have them ask questions. See,
and if they're honest about it, then it will open their eyes, though.
And how do I put this? Because my partner at work, he used to say, nothing shakes somebody more than have to question their core beliefs. And nobody, when they switch up, is more savage again when they find out that they've been lied to. So yeah, all of a sudden he went from anti-gun to pro-gun, and I guarantee you, the more he sits in the camp, the more he'll become more and more pro-gun.
Yeah,
because
he spoke at the rally.
Mm-hmm. I know he did. I mean, I was there, and I saw. Yeah, I saw you guys interview him. You didn't see me? I was standing feet away from you as you were talking to him.
Oops. Well, Cowboy. Cowboy was the guy that was filming him.
Okay. Yeah, I was standing there with this shirt on. You can see me in the background of almost every speaker because, well, I'm large. I'm large, and it's kind of hard to ignore me. But I thought that was interesting because a lot of people on the internet, of course, that didn't go to the Second Amendment rally are saying how ineffective it was because it was small. And I'm like, no, I think that made it more effective because now you had actual hardcore people that get stuff done. You had people that actually do things that show up. So Devin, him and I actually, now we met in St. Louis earlier this year. We actually got together and did a show that led to this show. So all of a sudden, people who didn't do stuff together are doing stuff together on every level with the Second Amendment advocates that showed up at the 2A rally. Yeah. So I think this will have a ripple effect throughout the community, and I think it brings people together. And now they have the one that's coming up, the social media rally that's coming up on December 15th, where they're asking people just to reach out and write their congressmen or write their representatives and call their representatives and blow up the spot all on December 15th across the country. I'm going to spend, of course, tomorrow I'm volunteering with CNJFO for a Youth Day shoot in northern New Jersey. But when I get home, or probably when I'm going up there, I'm going to make the announcement about, the December 15th 2A rally online and just let people know to participate. And I'll be doing that twice a week until it happens. But I also have, go ahead.
At the end of October, 2A rally part 2. Oh, you didn't know that? They're doing the second year of the 2A rally.
Oh yeah, October of next year. Yeah. No, actually, I was hanging out with Rob this week
Okay.
while he was in Jersey, and he made that. He told me about it, and then he just made that announcement. What, 2 days ago or something?
Yeah, wasn't really sure. I was like, oh my god, maybe I announced it too soon.
No. Yeah. No, I had lunch with Rob Pincus Tuesday or Wednesday.
But yeah.
Uh, we drove through Jersey doing what he called his New Jersey gun tour.
And if you're in Virginia, get out to the VCDL Lobby Day on January 20th in Richmond, right across from the Capitol.
Nice. Get out there and participate. Here's the thing: they pay attention when we gather, and if we let it flop, it looks bad. Now, I don't think DC was a flop. I think that 2A rally in DC was a success because it was 6 weeks. It was 6 weeks, word of mouth, internet only, no big backers. Now we have almost a year to get a bigger rally together. I made some mistakes with this rally because I also run something called a Minuteman Challenge, which is a friendly competition just to get gun owners to shoot whatever the hell they have in that closet. We have them come out. So if you have a lever action 22, we have a competition for the lever action 22. So we were having a discussion and we're like, hey, um, maybe we should all ride down together to the DC rally. And everybody was like, yeah, we should do that. I was like, yeah, man, let's put that together. And then I didn't say anything until the day before. And I called up the guys and they were like, hey, so when's the motorcade rollout? And they were like, yeah, nobody put it together, man. So I caught a ride with someone else, or I'm doing something else. That's what had me ended up driving down there. So now we know it's going to be October next year. We can put together a freaking caravan, roll down, rent some rooms, have some fun, make it a weekend thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long drive for me.
It was 4 hours for me, and I did it after I got off of work. So it was 1 o'clock in the morning, pulling into the hotel like within spitting distance of the Capitol, and I was like, "Holy crap, dude! Here I am. I mean, this is just amazing. I mean, I felt all America doing that, dude. I really did. I was tired as I don't know what. We cried. I went to sleep in the hotel room, woke up like 5 hours later, showered, and went out and met Kevin Dixie and Carrie Sloan at their rental place to have breakfast with some awesome human beings that Carrie brought down, who from all across the country, to actually people who wanted to be Second Amendment advocates and wanted to meet Carrie Sloan of We the Female to see what it was like, and Kevin Dixie of Aiming for the Truth. And then I showed up, and then Cheryl Todd showed up, and Tim Knight showed up with Rebecca Schmo from Million Moms, and dang, I forgot the guy's name for Kids Foundation, Safe Kids Foundation. I think that's the name of it. He showed up. They were just a lot of awesome people that came to this breakfast of people from all over the country that were Second Amendment advocates or wanted to be Second Amendment advocates. They flew into DC from as far away as California and Washington State.
I met somebody there from Alaska.
Yeah, I heard there was someone there from Alaska too. I don't know whom, but it was like this was a hardcore group of people that wanted to make a difference, and that's what I think that first Second Amendment rally is. It's going to be one of those things that you wish you would have been there. You know what I'm saying? And be at the second one, be at the next one. When you go to these Second Amendment things, it's going to be some of the same people you see every time. But if you want to be involved, the way to get involved is to get involved. That's it. There's no super secret way. It's get involved, meet people, and network. You can't just start a Second Amendment group on your own. You need to build a team, a coalition of allies. You don't even have to believe in all the same things. At diversity shoot that I host, my whole thing is we only talk about the Second Amendment. I don't even need to hear about your favorite ball team. I don't need anything to dilute this. You know what I mean? I don't care about your position on immigration. I don't care about your feelings of gay marriage. All of that is a false thing to get us to separate into categories. They're playing us off against each other. That's not important. What they're trying to do is still our Second Amendment rights. See, they can't take rights. We have to give rights away. So they're using this division to be able to just take rights have us give up our rights one at a time. Because the Second Amendment isn't for black people. That's one of the things I hear. That's one of the things they push. And I'm like, that's easily shown to be a lie. You
Yeah,
just have, yeah.
it definitely is. I mean, it definitely is. It's very important that we all work together and stick together. We might not agree on everything, but we do agree on a lot. And if we can't work together, then we fall apart. That's why I don't disparage other gun groups besides the NAGR, because I don't like them.
Well, my whole thing is I'm an NRA certified instructor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an NRA certified safety officer. I'm even an NRA recruiter. But I feel the NRA isn't living up to its potential.
Yeah.
And I understand why you'd want to go and join another group. Guess what? I encourage that. I encourage you to be a member of more than one group.
Well, the only group that I really disencourage people from joining is NAGR, National Association for Gun Rights, because they don't really do anything. They just collect money.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've gotten emails from them too for a while.
No, they seriously hurt the gun community more than they help it, because they go badmouth other groups and they try to sell it to other groups and stuff like that. And they actively discourage people from joining other groups because
Yeah,
it's a
that's ridiculous.
So
join every group. Join every group you can. And here's the thing about NRA. NRA is seeing pressure from the outside of the NRA, but unless you're a member, unless you're giving them money, really you're not a member of the group, so you're not going to have that effect on them. You got to be in it. You have to be a part of it. You have to vote. You can't, and regardless of what group you're in, you can't just cut a check and went, my work here is done.
Yeah, I think that happens a lot, which is kind of sad. Oh, I wrote the check. Well, you know what? Money is good. Does let things get done, but the real power is in membership. The real power is in the base.
And really, I mean, supporting people like us doing what we do, supporting us through Patreon, GoFundMe, PayPal, whatever the heck you can do to help me with my mission, help you with your mission, help G-Webs with his. I mean, there's a bunch of people out here that put in the work and have put in the work.
Yeah.
That you can fund and help out for $1 a month, for $2, $5. Yeah. I mean, and that's a check. That's a check that actually keeps people that are in the fight in the fight.
Well, like I do something called the 2A project, which I take the money that I make on I don't make a lot of money, but the one on Patreon and from blackswantactical.com, and I put it towards the 2A project. For this month, we're buying a single mom a handgun and getting her training to be able to use that to get a concealed weapons permit. And we're going to be doing that like every month. So basically, it's like, how do you make new gun owners? You arm them. So that's what I'm doing.
I mean, really, yeah.
We got to work with different groups. No matter, I mean, it's not just like in my area. It's wherever we'll find a good instructor and have them be taught. We have some partners who like Canic, for example. They're going to be supplying the guns. And, I think next month we're going to try to do an AR for dad. For a single dad.
Dude, make it happen. You do it one at a time. That's how we win hearts and minds. That's how we make a difference. All of us. Every one of us as a firearms owner can be and should be an advocate. We should be a good example. If you choose to have that responsibility, and I really feel you should. Now, this is one of the things I do. A lot of guys go online for entertainment and cause crap. You know what I mean? They stir up shit, they troll people, whatever. But when you start trolling people online, everybody's not in on the joke. Everybody not, it might be a new dude who go, hey, I just bought a high point pistol and he's in the gun form and everybody just takes a big steaming shit on him. And they go, well, get it, it's the internet. What's your first day on the internet? I'm like, you have no idea what that dude might have gone through to buy that pistol. He might have gone up against an entire lifetime of being told guns are bad and only police and gangbangers have guns. He might have freaking lost friends or family members that just will no longer speak to him anymore because he bought a firearm. And he just reached out to the community and you shit on him because you got lulls. You know what
Which,
I'm saying? What was
which,
that?
that happens.
Yeah. And they're like, well, I'm just having fun. I'm like, yeah, you just alienated a dude that wanted to be a gun owner and just stepped in the door. I'm like, you have no idea who he can bring with him if you just welcome him into the freaking community.
Go troll
You know
anti-gunners. Don't troll people who are trying to
Yeah.
get firearms.
Well, they make themselves feel good. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody can jump on the anti-high point thing, or you said something stupid, or you bought this thing. You bought a Taurus and you bought a Taurus PT99 instead of buying, the Beretta 92. Well, what a loser, man! You got the knockoff model of blah blah blah, or
Or
you got a
Tony with Anderson.
oh yeah, you got a poverty pony, or you got
Dude,
yourself a cheap optic.
it's a mil spec lower. I mean,
Yeah, it's
it works.
well, my whole thing is, um, it's easy to poop on somebody you think knows less than you, instead of just educate them. Like, yeah, there are better things out there you could have, but my question is this: what are you doing with it, Chief? You're still overweight. You dropped friggin' $3,000 on an AR-15, but you can't run up a flight of stairs. You have never taken a class at all, and you only go to the range with your high speed, low drag, mil spec looking AR-15, and you can't hit the broadside of a barn with. Like, so who are you? All right, you have all the gear, but you have none of the skills, and you
Yeah,
never bothered to learn them.
I saw someone making fun of somebody with a Anderson lower, and they had a Colt Expanse, and I'm like, I was like, you do know they're made in the same factory, and Colt licensed the Expanse to Anderson, so they basically came on the same line. They just have different logos on them. You're knocking your
Didn't Colt get sued because they couldn't move those expanses and they just decided to cut the deal and go F off? Wasn't that one of the things they got sued over?
yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I find it funny because, again, you want to make fun of someone and you don't even know what you own.
Yeah,
Like,
you own the same
stop.
thing. It's like, stop it.
Yeah. Oh,
And
PSAs are garbage. PSAs are garbage, but FN makes fighting rifles.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I just thought that was like one of the most funny things in the world.
hmm When you're trying to troll and pretty much you got trolled by Colt. Idiot. But whatever. Um,
It happens.
Somebody asked about firearms somewhere along the way.
Oh yeah, they wanted to know what your favorite firearms is.
All of them.
Well, what do you carry? Oh yeah,
I got.
sorry.
What was that?
All right. Oh, that's right. You're in New Jersey.
See, that's just rude. I'll go through what I carry. I carry a Glock 19 Gen 2. Gen 2 Glock 19, 9mm, whatever, and a crossbreed hybrid, Super Tut or King Tut. But I also picked up a CZ P07 in 40 Smith & Wesson because F the internet. I got a Glock 34. Also, I have a 357 Magnum, 686. So, I mean, I have different things. I love shooting guns because I'm a gun dude. I also have some other stuff coming from some manufacturers. Oh, and I have a high point. I have a high point 40 cal green with freaking $100 bill grips given to me by the president of High Point. Why? Because because and High Point has really come through. Speaking of people that are sponsors and helping us out. I'm on Firearms Radio Network. What was that?
You got a yeet cannon?
Yeah, I got a yeet cannon before it was a yeet cannon. I'm on a Firearms Radio Network, and a Gun and Gear Review podcast is what I co-host. And I think when I first got into guns back in the day, I was not interested in owning a handgun for self-defense because I believe, self-defense firearms should be rifles and shotguns if it's home defense. I live in Jersey, so I couldn't legally carry outside anyway. So I figured I'd just get a pistol to work on handgun marksmanship. So why dump a bunch of money in it because the triggers pulls the trigger pull. So I read a bunch of reviews on High Points, and everybody that had one said they were decent guns, or said they were the best gun ever, which I dismissed those guys immediately. But no one who had one said it was a really hunkin' steaming pile of crap. Only people that never had one said it was a hunkin' steaming pile of crap. So I figured I'd pick one up and see for myself. They have a mushy trigger, they have horrible ergonomics, and they're heavy as 10 boxes of anything you'd pick up. Now, if that the woman would have said a High Point weighs 10 boxes, I would believe her. But I got the High Point, I shot it, I've put over 3,000 rounds through it, and I wrote a review on it. And I was like, these are the good things about it, these are the bad things about it, but on the whole, it is a basic gun. It is a basic handgun. And one of the best things about it is you can take a High Point to a range and outshoot most dudes with a SIG 226. Because if you take the time to put in the trigger time, you'll just become good with anything. And a lot of people that owned other guns, they don't shoot them as much as they talk about shooting them. So you can probably shut up a lot of dudes with a High Point and troll the shit out of the gun line. So I was at the Great American Outdoor Show years ago, and my partner was like, hey, there's a guy over at the High Point booth. Tell him about your review and what you think about the product. I walked over and I had a conversation. These are the friendliest people you ever met at a High Point booth, by the way. And I started talking about the review I did and how many rounds I put through it and what I thought was wrong with the handgun, which is magazines. That's one of the bad parts. They don't feed from a magazine brand new. You have to tweak the mag lips. And I was like, but overall, I like the gun. And I was like, and I love taking pictures of it because it instantly starts fights on the internet of people that want to tell me what a piece of garbage it is. And he was like, well, you really want to start a fight? And he reaches over and grabs the $100 bill grips. He goes, here, take these, put them on it. I was like, okay, how much are they? He was like, no, take them. You can have them for free. I was like, okay. I walk to the other side of the booth to check out the High Point carbines. And one of the guys goes, you know who you're talking to right there, right? And I was like, no. He was like, that's the president of High Point. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, he's comes to the show and hangs out and just hears what people say about the product. And that's how I met them, and that's how we established our relationship. So when I started the diversity shoot, they were like, how can we help out? And they've sent us 3 carbines that we gave one away at the Minuteman Challenge to the winner. And we've been introducing people and having them shoot 9mm carbines at the events. I even have one in a bullpup chassis from High Tower Armory. Dude, it's people shoot it and go, this is the most fun I've had with a pistol caliber carbine because it's different and it's short and it's fun. So High Point has come through. Henry has come through and donated guns to us that we use at diversity shoot. Hunting Tactical is another one that came through. They make what do you call the Marlin 60? What is the Marlin semi-automatic 22?
Oh, no, it's not the 60.
Ah, darn. Anyway, they make a tactical kit for one, so it has an adjustable stock and everything. Check them out because they also sell one they call a Super 60. I think that's what they call it. And it's just hooked up with a trigger job.
Yeah, wait, you might be right.
Yeah, it's hooked up with a trigger job and everything, and it's pretty much tacked out that you can adjust the stock. Well, in Jersey, I can't have an adjustable stock on a semi-automatic firearm unless it has a non-detachable magazine or it has that tube magazine.
Yeah, I think they make a Marlin 795 as well. I think that's the one I was thinking
of.
Yeah,
that Papoose or something you were talking about. I think that's one of them. But I have it. I'm taking it tomorrow to help to this youth shoot because I can adjust the stock. And that's one of the greatest things about having an adjustable stock. When you teach people at different sizes, you can adjust that. And that's what I use. What was that?
One other thing. What do you think about that Vox reporter that shot the AR-15 and was talking about how powerful it was and how it gave him PTSD?
Yeah, well, he played himself. I mean, it's like, good job, dummy. Again, you said something that anybody can prove is a lie, and I love it when somebody, well, would they put down what he said, and then they showed like a 8-year-old girl running a competition with AR-15.
Yeah, I saw that. They broke it up so it'd be like him talking about it every time we would say like a line. They would like cut to her like shoot.
I'm like, dude, you played yourself. You can't even be considered just even a serious reporter at this point. You're a propagandist. You know what I mean? Or a giant wuss.
It's funny. Vox is like the one of the most dishonest publications ever.
Yeah, even CNN looks at them and go, you can't be serious with that, can you?
They're part of NBC.
Yeah, really? I don't even get that deeply into it. I just look at them like, you're sad. See, but part of the way I watch news is because of my dad. What he used to make me do back in the day was listen to different news reports from different countries. My dad was in the like shortwave radio, and he would have me listen to Voice of America radio. He would have me listen to Radio Moscow and Radio Havana or Radio Cuba. And then, we'd watch a news program, ABC, NBC, CBS. It made no difference because everything would have the same top news stories in America. And he would like look at the different slants of the news stories. And this was in the late 70s, early 80s. And you would be able to just look at it and go, wow, everybody has an agenda. Or as my partner says, all communication is manipulation.
Yeah.
And you can just look at different sides of something. Don't be married to listening to your own echo chamber, man. Because that's how you get played. That's how you get manipulated. You have to look around.
You definitely do. You definitely do. Well, Tony, tell everyone how they can find you, and I'll put up your banners as well.
All right. You can find me on social media at Facebook at Simon Says Train. Also, the second is for everyone on Facebook or Tony Simon on Facebook. But definitely the second is for everyone on Facebook. You can find me at the second for everyone on Twitter and Simon Says Train on Instagram. You can also go to the diversityshoot.com. That's our website where you can pick up t-shirts. You can see our next event, which is December 5th at Gun for Hire Range. You can donate to our GoFundMe, which is the second is for everyone. You can join our Patreon, which is 2A4E Podcast. That's on our Patreon. I think that's almost every way you can reach us and help us out.
All right. Well, I really, really want to thank you for coming on. It was a great conversation. I got to thank Devin too. Devin was the one who hit me up. He's like, yo, you got to have this guy on. I said, all right, yeah, let me have him on.
I told Dev something during the show, and I think, I've said it and I've posted it, and I really want to throw it out there because you have a bunch of people that are active in the Second Amendment community listen to your show. This is our generation's civil rights movement. This is it. This is the fight we have to fight. And if you're not a part of it, what are you going to say years from now if we lose this right?
Yeah, it is our a civil right, which that gets lost in translation a lot. That the Second Amendment is a civil right, but it is. What I always say is the Second Amendment is the only amendment that cannot be. I just messed up my own line. The Second Amendment is the only right that cannot be taken away. It can only be given away. So you should protect yours.
But no, every generation has to fight for the civil rights. Mm-hmm. It never goes away. Coretta Scott King said that, and I'm telling you that right now. Every generation has a civil rights struggle. This is actually ours, and it's only going to be seen in the rear view after this fight is over, however it turns out. History is going to show this was a fight that a lot of people didn't even know they were in. We have to be active.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And if you're not active, this is the time to get off the bench. It's time to get active, because if you don't, then you're gonna lose. And yeah, it's great that you cut a check or whatnot, But that's not what really helps. What really helps, the NRA's power is not in its bankroll. The NRA power is the millions of members that they can mobilize. That's
Yep.
the power that it has over politicians. So when they try to say, NRA is special interest, what they're basically saying is the NRA is of the NRA. What they're trying to say is you're a special interest because we don't value what you want as much as we value what we want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're not speaking for you. That's why DC Project is important.
DC Project, women from 50 states.
Yeah, so Diana talked to me, Diana Miller, who founded DC Project, spoke to me in 2015, 2016 about what they were doing. And I was like,
times.
What was that?
She's been on the show several times.
Yeah, so Di talked to me and she was about what they were doing. I was like, oh, this is an awesome idea. Who's the Jersey rep? And they're like, oh, we don't have one. So, I mean, I spent like a couple of years trying to find a female that was willing to do it. And it's just really hard because the women that are active in the 2A community are active in a lot of different communities. They do stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's not just gun stuff. And now they finally have Teresa Einacker, who is a lawyer in Jersey, who is now the DC Project rep for New Jersey. And it's awesome because, I mean, I know Teresa because we've worked together with CNJFO. She's their director of information. But it's like, get involved. You don't have to be at every rally. You don't have to be a part of everything, but you have to be a part of something. Participate, man. Look, there's supposedly 100 million gun owners in this country. If 100 million gun owners acted as one and voted as a block, we would frighten the crap out of these people for a generation.
You could see the Democrats be like, "Oh, we're
they'll be so pro-gun. They'd be so pro-gun. You know, Cory Booker would be. Cory Booker'd show up shooting a belt fed somewhere. I mean, it would just be that much of a switch. But here's the other thing. It's great that there's that many gun owners, but what needs to be had and needs to be done is 360 million Americans have to understand that the Second Amendment is their civil right too, not just a gun owner. It gives you options and it also gives you ability to check your government, because our government has gotten and will continue to get out of hand and overstep and try to subjugate the people, we the people. And our founders, regardless of, they were slave owners and they were this, yeah, but they were also smart enough to know government needed to be checked by an armed populace. And they gave us that ability as a country. And that's why we're still around and that's why we're so freaking awesome. But we have to fight for that every generation.
Yeah, we definitely do. Dividing people is something that they are great at. That response to armament and access, saying that that the gun grabbers on the left they love to divide people, and they're really good at it.
They have to. That's how you divide and conquer. I mean, the British use that to rule the world, and these people are going to try to do that to rule us, and we have to just make that not true because it's easy. Dude, 9/11 showed us we have more in common than we don't. 9/11, after 9/11 happened, man, America as a whole was amazing that we got together. And they pretty much spent years after that trying to split us up again.
9/11 was a terrible day for the country. 9/12 was a great day for the country because everyone came together.
I stopped watching the news on a daily basis years ago. I stopped watching television like that because it was just, I felt it was a lot of manipulation. So I just backed off. And also, there can't be a freaking plot twist every day. There can't be an emergency every day that requires me to be stressed out over it. I'm like, no, it's not. And once you step back, you see it's all bullshit. But
try being a journalist.
Yeah, it's like, dude, this is a lie. They're making this into an emergency.
Yeah, I understand how it works. I understand how headlines work and how articles work. And if my journalism, the articles I write, I try to leave emotion and conjecture out of it as much as possible.
Oh,
But
so you're horrible at it.
yeah, I know. But I think that's something that's really lost in journalism today.
Yeah,
It's like
it
I
is.
don't tell you what to think. I give you the facts, and what you want to come up with, that's yours.
What you come up with it. Yeah, you develop that. You don't need to lead someone there. But I was listening to the radio when 9/11 happened. I was actually listening to Howard Stern, and the way he covered that event, just as a human being, not as someone with an agenda, as stories were coming in live. I mean, he stayed on the air for like 5 or 6 hours that day. I was driving from one part of Jersey out to Phillipsburg, and it was 2 hours in the car, 3 hours in the car. And you listen to the radio and your mind is going, and I'm like, dude, might I might just re-enlist in the Corps. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking, how do I get in on this fight? This is someone attacked my country. How do I get in on this?
I was a couple
And
of in the Pentagon.
yeah, oh wow, yeah. So it was like, yeah, my neighbor was actually in the tower. My neighbor was in the
Oh
second
wow!
tower. Yeah, he made it out. He made it home, but okay. Anyway, it brought America together. And then when we talk about my neighbor, my neighborhood was black, white, Hispanic, freaking Italian, just everything. It was the Rainbow Coalition. And everyone knew my neighbor, G, Gamal, was a single parent with two daughters. One of his daughters was one of the top 5 students in America. She was in high school. His ex wife was addicted to drugs. And that's what broke the family up. His wife was a crackhead. That means she'd just fallen and she was done. Well, the whole neighborhood was out. Did G come back yet? Because we all knew he worked in the World Trade Center. So now you have a street full of blacks, whites, Asians, um, old Italian ladies from across the street. They were like, "Did he come back yet? Did he come back yet?" So we're all standing in like around his house. Now he'd already taught his girls, "You come home, you go directly in the house, lock the door, and you don't come out." So we were all like in front of his house talking. And we're like, no, but saw the tower got hit, but a lot of people got out, but they're trying to get back to Jersey. Like trains aren't running, this isn't running. They got the bridges closed off, and it was just everyone was worrying about this one dude because they knew his daughter's future hung in the balance. If he was dead, his crackhead wife would get the kids in the house, and just it was over with. You know what I mean? And we knew this was a bright kid whose future, I mean, it was just hilarious because you look around and there wasn't everyone was just concerned about this one family because we knew them. And his car pulled onto the street, and it was like the ending of one of those 80 movies. You know what I mean? Like everybody just surrounded his car, and he of course wanted to get in to hug his daughters and stuff, but he was like, "I'm fine. A lot was going on. I'll tell you guys after it's over with, but I just want to see my little girls." And he went in the house, and everybody just was really emotional and hugged each other and stuff, and we just dissipated and went back to the house. And later on he told us a story about what happened, but it was like America was together, dude. This block was together worrying about one man and his daughters, and that's what happened throughout the country. And I thought that was amazing, and it made me angry as I watched that get squandered. You know what I mean? Because we have more in common. We all want better for our children. We all want their lives to improve. We all want to prosper and just live our lives. And they're using sexuality, gender, religion, political party, anything they possibly can to divide us when we have so much in common as people.
Yeah. They want us to focus on what makes us different instead of what makes us the same.
And the things that make us different are like less than 20% of anything.
Yeah, but
Like we're the
they don't want us to think about that.
and one of the books I read somewhere one time said a black dude growing up in America has more in common with the country as redneck than they have with a black guy that grew up in Africa. You know what I'm saying? Because you grew up in America. You watched the same cartoons. You saw the same commercials. You ate the same breakfast cereals. You know what I mean? You watched the same sporting events. You have more in common than you don't. But people don't want you to see that.
Yeah, it is crazy like that when you think about that. I've heard that before. Yeah, I think Thomas Sowell actually said that before.
Okay. I mean, it's just it's such an obvious thing, but it's not. But it is. It's like, dude, this is American culture. We're different. Everything about us is different than the rest of the world, even compared to a Canadian. You know what I mean? It's just different, and that's what makes us special. And that's what makes us awesome. And many times we're willing to give that away because somehow we're embarrassed about being Americans. Fuck you. We're winners, man. I'm not going to be embarrassed about being an American. I mean,
I heard Karl Malone. Uh, they asked him, or he went to Africa for some type of basketball thing, and they were asking him, what's it like to be back in the homeland of Africa? And he's like, I'm not from Africa. I'm from America. And
uh-huh,
he got a lot of flack for that.
not from Africa. Somebody asked me about that too when there's a million. You're going to Africa? I'm like, I ain't leave nothing there. I'm from Virginia. And I mean, I'm not going to diss the culture or anything, but I'm an American.
Well,
And
and he was just like, he's like, what do you mean? Going back to Africa? Oh, I've never been there. How can
yeah,
you go back somewhere where you've never been?
well, I also, it's just funny to me because that's usually American blacks talking that. I'm like, if you want to find out how Africans really feel about Americans, go to Africa. They know you're not African. They're not even going to act like you're African. You're a visitor, dude. And they're going to make sure you remember that. That's all. You're just a tourist that happens to be the same skin color as them, or at least close to it. You're an American, and that's the way you're seen around the world. When I was stationed in Japan, it was really funny and refreshing. Um, I had a friend, Randy, who was look, Randy's awesome. I love him. We were in the Corps together. We were all stationed in Iwakuni, Japan, which is a small base, 1,500 people. That was it. And we went to Hiroshima to party. So we're at the club. It's me, my boy Randy, who's a white kid from Vegas, blonde hair, blue eyes. My boy Dave, who's from Maryland. Dave's a light skinned brother with like gray eyes and like almost red hair, reddish blonde hair. So we rolled up to the club with some Japanese girls. We ready to go in. We got the money, and they go, "No, we can't let them in." I said, "Why not?" I said, "They're Americans." And me and Dave looked at each other and goes, "Well, that's refreshing. All right, no problem. Let's roll. Let's go to another club." Randy was like, "That's bullshit. We're not let in. That's not right. We're just people like you." And we're like, "Yeah, come on, Randy. Welcome to being black, man. Let's go to another club." Randy got to be black for a day. It was awesome. He was shook. But it was like, yeah, dude, that's really cool, man. We got thrown out of place because we are Americans. That was awesome.
Yeah. Uh, all right, man. Well, I usually only do an hour, and I'm at an hour 40
All right.
right now.
Yeah. All right, man. I'm sorry I took up so much of your time, but I'm glad you had me on the show.
It was freaking great, man. Yeah, you gave your just got into some stories. We got to do this again.
All right. No problem. Just call me up. Let me know. Oh, and you guys want to catch the 2A4E podcast? We're on your podcast apps. I haven't run it because Anchor was what we were using, the app, and it started to get funky. So we're going to be using this app actually. So we'll be using that, and we'll be coming at you very soon again with new episodes.
Awesome. Maybe I can do your podcast.
All right, cool.
Yeah, man. Anytime.
All right.
All right, guys. That was Tony Simon. Really cool guy. Liked him a lot. Definitely gonna have him back on. Remember, you can support the show. You can support me on Patreon at patreon.com/John Crump. I can fund the 2A project and a bunch of stuff. You can buy some merch over at blackswantactical.com. So blackswantactical.com, patreon.com/John Crump, paypal.me/John CC as well. You can follow me, Real John Crump, on Instagram, Facebook, CrumpySS on Twitter. And that is it for tonight. And I will be back in a couple days. I am going to Hold on. What? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Never mind. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. All right. Yep. And also, if you want to join GOA, I will put it out there as well. Actually, no, I won't. But it's hold on, I'll put that in the chat. I'm about to fall asleep here, so here. GOA, Patreon, hitting my little buttons. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. It really helps us out. Share this out anywhere. And thank you for watching, whether you're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube's, whatever. All right, guys, I will see you later.